That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.
That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.
I'm Luke Hogan. I don't have the script open yet. Too many things going on. Sorry. I should. Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. Optional.
I mean, San Diego Comic-Con is always a hot spot for new releases all over any kind of fandom, really.
Mhm.
Guys, can you hear us now?
Yeah, they should be able to hear us now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Sorry, but it's our first day. It's our first day, guys.
Yeah, it's early.
We're new at this.
Blame Luke, as always.
Well, welcome everybody to Hogwarts Radio, episode 205. This is our special live streaming edition. We're live on YouTube right now to discuss the Crimes of Grindelwald trailer that dropped yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con.
Woo!
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah.
I've
It's
been waiting for this forever.
Literally forever.
since the beginning, the dawn of time.
Since I was
Yes.
born.
Or since like March, but close enough.
That's what I was going
Still.
to Yeah, the last trailer dropped on like March 17th, March 18th, something like that.
Yeah,
13th.
it's been
Right
a
around
while.
there. Yeah. So we were definitely due for a trailer. I mean, guys, the movie's only like 4 months away at this point. So yeah, I think we're gonna start seeing a lot more information about the Crimes of Grindelwald come out, and we saw a lot yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con. There was a bunch of events leading up to the release of the trailer. So as people were filing into Hall H, which is one of the larger halls over there, they were given a couple of things. They were given a wristband, which they didn't know what it was going to be used for. A couple people nailed it. They speculated that it was going to light up and things like that. But they also got new posters. There was a new poster that was released that said "Who Will Change the Future," which featured the entire cast, which is really cool.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of exciting things going on there. I just feel like there was probably quite a bit of buzz going around. Something this big, and there was already rumors that something big was gonna, that the trailer was gonna drop. It sounds like they did a good job of getting, all this other excitement, swag stuff out there to the people who actually could see it live. So that's pretty cool.
There was actually a swag bag, which I wanted to talk about just for a moment, that people got, and it featured the cast minus Grindelwald.
I wonder
So-
why.
Yeah,
We'll
I mean,
promote everyone except Johnny.
well, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of ridiculous because it's the Crimes of Grindelwald,
Yeah.
I know that there's that people are really salty over Johnny right now, and will be for the rest of his life about the allegations made against him. But hey, speaking of Johnny, he did make an appearance as Gellert Grindelwald. It spoke for about a minute and a half whenever the I guess the panel was starting. I don't know at what point in the panel. Maybe it was after the trailer. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, he made that appearance. Spoke, like I said, for a minute and a half with dialogue from the movie. I think it was.
I think he was introducing the trailer, and I'm not sure if it was dialogue or if it just was something weird that they had written. I've meaning to research it and didn't get a chance.
So those bracelets did end up lighting up whenever Eddie Redmayne came out and used his wand, which was really cool. And then again, we weren't there, so I don't know at what point that was, if it was after the trailer before. But nonetheless, really cool stuff leading up to the release of the trailer. And then the release of the trailer happened.
What we're all really here for.
And everybody went insane. There was a lot to unpack in this trailer, and I honestly don't even know where to start. So, you know, as with anything, let's just go around and get initial reactions about what we thought. I was so overwhelmed with information, with the newness of the trailer, and as I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, you know, we don't know how the story is going to go. That's the big unknown, is we don't know the narrative of this movie at all. I mean, we could guess, we can kind of piece it together, but we're not going to know until we watch it. I liked seeing all the fantastic beasts that we saw. I was kind of worried about that when we got the first trailer, that we weren't going to be seeing as many fantastic beasts. And I also liked the magic that was involved. There was a lot of magic in this trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of hits on everything that I loved about this trailer, especially getting to see so many beasts.
Yeah, the visuals are stunning. You know, they look incredible. I think the beasts look awesome, which we'll get in when we do our fly through as well. But I'm really impressed with how it looks, and that's when you have something where, hey, we're showing off all these magical creatures. That's got to be on point, right? I mean, and I think they've done a good job in the first movie, and it's just nice to see that they're continuing that vein.
Yeah, the beasts were really awesome. I just love watching the trailer because it felt like every moment I was like, "What's that? What's that?
It's so dense."
Here? Yeah. At the end, I'm like, "Flamel, what's going on?" I'm like freaking out in the streets of New York City. It was awesome.
You know, this was an unusually long trailer. I think this is, to my knowledge, and my knowledge isn't very credible, but to my knowledge, this is the longest trailer that we've ever received for a Wizarding World movie. That includes all the Harry Potter films. Maybe with the exception of like the first movie, the first two movies or something like that. But 3 minutes and 13 seconds was a long time, you guys. And to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting something that long. But we said the same thing about the last trailer as well. That one was also pretty long. It wasn't even an official trailer.
Well, wasn't that one only about a minute?
No, I think it was like 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 15 seconds, I want to say.
I don't know. They're never long enough. They could give me the whole movie and it still wouldn't be long enough.
So Bailey, just look at this movie as a trailer preview of the next one. So just do that and you'll be happy.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
You know, I remember whenever we were getting the trailers for Deathly Hallows, either part 1 or part 2, or maybe even both. And we were so worried that we were seeing too much of the movie because the trailers were unusually long as well. And I was like, you know, we're gonna see everything before we actually see it. And with this movie, because we don't know the narrative, that's kind of impossible.
Yeah, and I feel like that's not really happening with this movie. The things they're showing aren't really big spoiler things to me because I still have no clue what's going on. Like, it's not helping my knowledge in the slightest. Like, I don't know what the beasts are, don't know what's happening. We know he escapes from Azkaban. That's literally all we've got. So I'm like, the more the better. Give me all the trailers.
Okay, guys. So should we jump into it now? I think so. Let's go ahead and, yeah, we're gonna watch the trailer. So if you're
yes, I want to watch it.
Luke is gonna go ahead and cue that up for us now.
All right. So we will hopefully have this work. Let's go.
I'm scared, Professor Dumbledore.
Everyone is scared of something.
Ridiculous.
Newt, you're up next. That's an unusual one. What Mr. Scamander fears above everything else is
Having to work in an office. sir.
Go ahead, Newt.
Ridiculous.
Magic blooms only in rare souls.
Can I just say we nailed that part, guys?
Still, we must stop in shadows.
We are professionals.
But the old ways serve us no longer.
I take it you've heard the rumors. Grindelwald had a vision that he would rise to dominance over the wizarding world.
So you're asking me to help hunt him down?
I can't move against Grindelwald. It has to be you. In your shoes, I'd probably refuse to. It's late. Good evening, Newt. Oh, come on.
You underestimate your talents, Mr. Scamander.
Their arrogance is a key to our victory.
Muggles are not lesser. Not disposable.
You're too good, Newt. You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Traitors!
Mr. Scamander.
Do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
Are you a ghost?
No, I'm alive. But I'm an alchemist and therefore immortal.
Oh,
Nicolas Flamel.
Jacob Kowalski.
Oh,
You don't look a day over 375.
You know, like a day over 375. Oh my goodness, I needed that. That was like the cool drink of water. That was like the addition, the supplement to my coffee this morning. Okay, so guys, like I said, a lot to unpack in this trailer. So we're gonna kind of break it down scene by scene here, and Luke is gonna play us. We're gonna go through shot by shot and kind of discuss things, and then move on if there's nothing else to say.
Nope. Excited. You ready?
Let's do it.
You betcha.
All right. Again, fingers crossed. This should work. Hey, looking good for me.
Hey, look, it's a hill.
All right, I am going to, just so everyone's kind of aware, hosts and those listening live stream, I'm going to slowly kind of play through these screenshots of the video, and if anyone has a comment, just jump in and I'll stop and we can chit chat about that frame. All right.
And
so
anybody that's listening after the fact, like if you're downloading the show later on in the day from your the regular way you get the show, we'll do our best to kind of let you know where we're at in the trailer, so you can follow along as well.
all right, here we go.
All right, so the first shot we're seeing is of Hogwarts again, much like the previous trailer. Nothing real new here. It's a clear day over the Black Lake. Hogwarts is looking more beautiful than ever.
Looks good. I like the swoop in shot. We've seen it in almost every trailer, but it still looks good.
That flyover will never get old.
Exactly.
It truly is the, hey, you're back, you're returning, and it's good branding.
We're home again.
All right, we ready to move along?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So we kind of track behind Youngledore.
Ooh. Dumbledore. And we hear the dialogue, "I'm scared, Professor Dumbledore," which is Newt, young Newt, Youngle Newt. Newt.
I am quickly going to try to resize this so we can actually get the subtitles in the picture. So,
okay.
Working on it right now.
Ooh.
Well done, Luke.
Fancy.
Moving stuff, putting words in. Oh, wow.
All right. Let me try one more thing. Make sure. Okay. I'm working on it. Bear with me.
He's got it, guys.
It's not going to be able to keep the same frame.
So,
is there a word for a baby newt? Or is it just called a baby newt? Like the animal?
Yeah.
Look it up, please, because that's important for this podcast. Priorities.
The episode title. I don't think so.
So what I want to ask with this is this? Do you think this is going to be a memory, a flashback? Is it going to be something where we're going to see Newt just kind of reminiscing about after his encounter with Dumbledore, or I mean, I understand it's kind of redundant to ask those kind of questions, but I think it's important for the analysis of it as well to understand when we're probably going to be seeing these scenes in the movie.
I wonder if it might open with this. Like, we're back at Hogwarts, and then we're with young Newt, and then it somehow relates back to present day Newt, and that's our introduction back into the movie. I think that might be an interesting way to start.
Yeah, just to butt in for a second, Sydney in our Patreon Slack chat told us that a baby Newt is called an eft.
Eft.
An eft?
E-F-T.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. So we see the eft. We see eft with Yumbledore. Youngledore. This is hard.
Everyone's getting new names.
Dumbledore tells Newt that everyone is scared of something, which is pretty powerful because even Dumbledore is scared of something, much as we'll see in this trailer as well. And it usually goes along with your deepest, darkest desire of your heart. So, it's interesting. We'll get to that part in just a minute. But then it cuts to a scene of Newt in the classroom, Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, and we see the Boggart wardrobe and Dumbledore as well. Youngledore looking all Dapper Dan. He says, "Newt, you're up next," and this is where we see the Boggart wardrobe and the Boggart come out, and the Boggart for Newt is a desk, and I think we nailed that on a previous episode of our show. So round of applause for that, guys.
Go team.
Hey. Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, it's a pretty good looking desk as far as desks go. I have been doing quite a bit of desk shopping, and I would be pleased with that one.
You'll have to ask him for it. If he doesn't want it, will he give it to you?
I will fully take that desk.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I missed in this scene was that a Boggart's the true death of a Boggart happens with laughter, right? And there was no laughter that happened with this. Whenever they said ridiculous, there was no laughter that happened at all. Unless that was just a Lupin thing, I don't know.
Must be.
I mean, how do you make a desk funny?
Well, he cast a spell and then it cuts away, but I think someone cast a spell before him, right?
Yeah, that girl. We don't know who she is, right?
Yeah, nobody laughs then, but that's editing would be my guess.
Yeah. Try to save the joke for the movie.
Save the laughter for the movie. It's real good.
All right. I think we're ready to move on after this scene.
All right, and for the hosts watching the hangout for the screen share to see so that we can kill the lag, the stream delay, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see the desk, right? And
Dumbledore does tell him that's an unusual one. So Newt says something like, well, Dumbledore also says, hang on, what Mr. Scamander fears above everything else is having to work in an office, sir. That's what he responds with.
I love that he answers that because he like knows. He's like, this is my darkest fear. Oh my gosh, like it's having to work it off. It's not like it was a surprise to him. He's like, oh yes, this is it. My time has come. Like this is it.
That is such an unusual, dark fear, having to work in an office.
I mean, I imagine there's a lot of people who don't want to work a desk job, who want to get out there and do something.
And we know specifically Newt is not afraid of like any creatures. So you wouldn't see any of like the class, like any of the ones that we saw in Harry's class, right? I mean, they're all like giant spiders and like mummies and like all these living creature type things. That is the opposite of what he would be afraid of. So I think it makes more like it's one of those more metaphysical kind of hard to describe things. Yeah, that's what he's afraid of. So just being tied down.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next scene.
And then everyone chuckles at him.
Aw, poor Newt. Poor baby Newt. Poor F. Or
Poor little F.
Poor F. The WB logo opens up in the next shot, looking more beautiful than ever. And the Wizarding World logo as well opens up like a book. Which was pretty cool.
I love the animation on that logo so much. I think this is the first time I actually thought of it as a book.
It is pretty neat, yeah.
Yeah, I think they really wanted to sell it that, yes, this is a book. Like, let's make sure everyone understands it. Yeah.
I remember when they released it, and it was like, it's supposed to be a book, and it's okay. I can see it now that you said it.
It looks like NBC.
Really getting the visual.
You know, Bailey and I were on the episode where we talked about the logo, but Luke and Gretchen, you guys came on a few episodes later. But doesn't it remind you of the NBC logo a little bit?
Yes, it does.
I think I was on that episode actually, because I remember we made jokes about that. It was like it looks like peacock feathers, right? Until you realize it's supposed to be a book, and you're like, okay, at least there's some symbolism behind why they decided to go that way.
Well, and in the theme parks, they have wand displays in the Ollivander stores, and they kind of look like this.
And yeah, so this is the first time we've seen this logo for any of the movies, right? So because this came out post movie 1 for Fantastic Beasts, so
right.
That's
in a full trailer. Yeah, we did see it in the teaser trailer.
Yes,
but I don't think it did the book thing.
It didn't. It was stationary.
So the animation.
It's much cooler with the animation.
Yeah. So there's a beautiful, beautiful shot of a moving statue. It's kind of like the one of those ones you see at a theme park where the people just stand there and they're people take pictures with them or something like that.
It kind of reminded me of when you go to, I want to say it's the Venetian in Las Vegas, and they have those character actors that are standing around like statues.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. And Tina's also in this shot as well, kind of sneaking around, snooping, doing what she does, keeping quiet, keeping a low profile. The dialogue in the background, magic blooms. And that is Johnny Depp, I believe. Only in Rare Souls is the next bit of dialogue, and it has we see an entrance to the Wizarding Circus. which looks really cool. And this is something I've always wanted to try, is like being able to go into a bubble and fly up. You know, we see a couple of those, a couple of people in bubbles.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go floating around in a bubble. That's been on my my
Yeah,
bucket
it's a
my
very
bucket list.
specific
Bucket list
desire.
Les Cirque Arcanis, so it's a literally magical circus, right? So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Ani Ani on the right side of the entrance to the, I guess, to the big show, and then the left-hand side is the Maldictus of that. Nothing new, really, other than the visuals in this shot. We know that we're seeing the circus. One thing that I did want to bring up, and I don't know if this is just me, but look at the overall setting of this particular shot here, where it has the tent right there. Does it look like it's in the middle of a city street,
Like an intersection, right?
Yeah.
Which
And
makes me think there's not a whole lot of room for that tent. So I wonder if it's maybe like the magical tent, right? You know,
exactly where I was going. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like when they kind of take magics from both and then interleave them to, you know, actually create, you know, commonalities between the two stories. I think that's always neat.
Yeah, because it makes sense that something like this would be in Newt's world as well.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this? Who is this person looking at the Maldictus poster?
Is that supposed to be Credence?
That's Credence, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, we must skulk in shadows.
It's an appropriate line for a Credence shot.
Uh-huh.
I like his hat.
His cabbie hat.
We also have
What
a.
kind of hat you have?
I could go put that on right now. So we do have a date on the wall, Friday, December 3rd. I would imagine that's a promo for the upcoming circus, right?
What is it?
Probably.
It says homoamphobia underneath that.
I think so.
Amphibia, so the human amphibian.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Maldictus. Is that? I wonder if that's going to be like the main attraction of this circus.
I mean, it is the biggest picture on that advertisement.
So the other one, so at the top it says hypnotist, take heed of his
Artful deception.
Artful deception. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And introducing the infant demonic something. But
the rest of the wording isn't really clear on that, but it looks like just kind of the it's kind of like what you can expect to see at this circus. And Credence seems particularly interested in this Maldictus that we see on the left. He's focused in on that in particular, and I think he goes to seek her out, and that's how that relationship forms right there.
It looks like he's seen this and he's like, wow, okay, if that's a real thing, she probably has similar skills to, at least, you know, base skill set that I have. And with his experience with Graves, who we know to be Grindelwald last movie, he's probably like, I'm going to try to find a new mentor, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Some apparition happening in the next shot as well, and then we see a Deluminator, much as we saw in the first trailer. I mean, nothing really new in this particular scene. We're still not able to see who is using that, although we can assume that it is Dumbledore,
unless he lets Newt borrow it or something.
Right? Exactly.
So we see them moving. Grindelwald looks like through the Makusa prison, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a creepy shot.
This is a very scary shot, and it shows they're kept in cages, essentially, these prisoners, as we can see, in this particular shot.
Yeah, it's
I'm just imagining.
Go ahead, Bailey. No, you take it.
I'm just imagining, like, they're transporting the prisoner and he's floating along, and they're like, "Oh, whoops! I smacked your head on something. Sorry."
It very much reminds me of when they take Snape out of the Shrieking Shack, and Sirius is just like letting his head loll around and nailing the
bumping against the
right.
roof.
He's like, oh well. It's just. But yeah, I like how his hands are pulled back, like handcuffed. You know, like that they're truly trying to show that he is, you know, in custody. He's not going anywhere, which we know doesn't always hold up for this story where it ends up. Yeah.
Again, the postcard scene coming up next with Newt. It is pieced back together now. We know that he does piece it back together, and he's looking at it. And the front of the postcard is Paris.
So we think that's probably from Lita Lestrange.
Maybe it was from. Well, I mean, is it even Newt's postcard?
That seems like a violation of privacy if it's not. I'd be disappointed in him.
I mean, my guess is that it's something to do with Lita Lestrange, and he tore it up in the past for whatever their falling out was previously. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's a pretty low-hanging fruit guess, but I think for what I'm anticipating we're going to see in this movie, it's going to be a lot of Newt's backstory and Dumbledore and Grindelwald kind of starting that rise to take each other out kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. So again, this next shot is something that we saw in the previous trailer, but we have more expanded view of it now. We can confirm that it in fact was Grindelwald, as we guessed, and he's speaking to an audience, and he's speaking to his followers, and he's saying the old ways serve us no longer, and he looks charming in this shot, and I think that's one of his, like one of the okay. So this is the point with all the villains in the Harry Potter series, all the major villains at least, is they're all so charming. You know, they're so dapper, they're so swaggy. You know, they're so what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with an I.
Indefinable, indefatigable.
Okay.
Inimitable. Inimitable. Is that the one?
Going with a bunch of eyes.
I don't know.
Igloo. They are so
They're
igloo.
So igloo. They're chill. They're cool.
They're so fetch.
Oh, you know, the word I was looking for was persuasive. That didn't start.
Oh, that doesn't start with
Couldn't
help you with that one.
It's I Persuasive. It's by Apple.
Yeah. I mean, by Apple.
I need to buy that.
Yep.
The new cologne by Apple. I Persuasion.
But don't they look persuasive? I mean, don't they sound persuasive? Like all the villains in the series. You know how Tom Riddle was very, very casual, very swaggy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's definitely some commentary and by JK on how leadership can do that. How it's easy to fall for. Don't trust a pretty face just because. Like that's I think part of one of the things that she gets at. But like this scene here, we know that this is the late 20s, right? And if we think of some other historical figures close to this time period, which had global significance, I can see some pretty major similarities as to how Grindelwald is going about recruiting followers. Not to name any names, but it's Adolf Hitler.
Because none of us could have guessed that one.
Because he was persuasive, and he was, gentlemanly, and a good figurehead and charismatic, and definitely convinced people that at their more base needs, that, hey, this isn't right. We should have our time in the sun. And that's a pretty persuasive thing when you feel like, people are coming after you, which I think the magical folk clearly do in America. So I think there's some pretty strong ties to that characterization.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Adolf Hitler started to amass his following at the same time Grindelwald started to amass his. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. So this is actually a little bit before when Hitler would have started, which would have been early 30s.
Okay.
From writer J.K. Rowling.
Some pretty cool animation. Yeah.
I like the blues in the background. It's like real stormy looking. It looks like lightning and heavy, dark, stormy clouds. It's just good visuals, I believe.
And I'm happy with the gold accenting that as well. I mean, at least they didn't use like something else that was like sepia or anything. Newt said, Jesus. Eddie Redmayne said that this movie was definitely going to be darker. But I like how the color palette is of what we've seen so far from the posters. They had that same kind of blue. Oh my God, same kind of blue background, but it had like red and gold in it, and which we'll talk about on a future episode from Mina Lima. But I really like how there's dark in the and there's also light being brought to the front. So good choice. Okay, so we're in Paris now on the next shot at the Eiffel Tower. And who do we see here?
That has got to be Claudia Kim's Maledictus character. Yeah. I wish we had a name for her.
Mallory.
I'm
Mallory.
surprised we don't have a name.
New with Queenie here at all. Something we saw in the last trailer, so I'm not even worried about that one.
Yeah, Queenie, get out of here.
She's looking great as usual.
She does look great.
She is always always the best. Love her so much.
I want to raid her wardrobe. I feel like she's got some awesome clothes.
I like that shirt. I like that top. I like the coloration on it. Looks cool.
You may love her, but you can't deny
she's got style.
Yeah. Okay, so is this? We can assume this is after Credence has cast his, and we'll see that later on in the trailer as well, kind of out of context. But is this the Obscuri?
Looks like it's becoming a more controlled Obscurial.
It's kind of it's really scary because it's covering the entire side of the building.
Right, it's like pouring over the side there. Yeah.
I did not get that was Credence at first, and I'm like, why is this cloak like falling on them? Like, it looks so fabricy. I had no idea what was happening here. But that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's gaining more control over it, it's almost becoming like a more physical, tangible form of an Obscurial.
Yeah, I dig it.
So a quick flyover of the Obscurus of over Newton, Tina, and the streets of whatever city they're in at the time. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite shots of Grindelwald in the trailer. Whenever he has his hand extended out, he's looking up. And I'm assuming he's like summoning his wand, like Thor's hammer or something like that. It looks pretty cool, and yeah.
So
what do we have on the next shot here? Yeah.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I can't tell at all. I wonder if they're
Who are these people?
like transporting a creature or something. Like, because they're clearly carrying a large crate of some sort, right? No idea what that's all about. Do we know any of these characters?
I don't know.
They don't look familiar.
Yeah. Again, nice hat. I like the hat. And the jacket. I like that jacket too. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So that fades out and goes to Matthew Broderick. No, it's not Matthew Broderick. I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, is that Matthew Broderick? What?
What trailer did you watch?
Wrong movie, Luke.
So they're speaking about rising to wizarding world dominance here as well. I don't remember who is actually saying. I don't know if it's Dumbledore speaking here.
I think so. I don't remember.
So then it looks like Maledictus and Credence kind of hitting it off.
A little bit. Is there a romantic relationship there? Do we think?
Maybe one way.
I'm down.
In any kind of promotion that we see of this movie, they're always together and they're always so close.
They do look very intimate in some of the promo photos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I would imagine there's probably something, and again, maybe it's not from both sides, and I don't know. That's interesting.
Maybe that's and this is kind of extending way out there, but maybe the intimacy between them is what destroys Credence. So, because it's the power of love, right? And if there's one thing that we know in this entire series is that love is the ultimate. It's the ultimate power. It's the ultimate, not necessarily weapon, but
It's the greatest magic there is.
Absolutely, yeah. Quick shot of Bo Battens and Nikolai Flamel. No, wait, that's not him.
No.
That's some chick with two weird cats. No,
Those are some strange looking.
Those were crazy looking.
those are scary. Yeah, those. You know what they remind me of? Of like things you see in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're like Egyptian, like magical Egyptian minks or something.
They almost look like oh goodness, what are those hairless cats?
Yeah.
Hairless cats.
Oh, I feel like there's a specific type of hairless cat they look like though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in the background we hear the dialogue of Newt saying, "So you're asking me to help hunt him down?" He's talking to Dumbledore. So,
Terrence, were you joking about Bobatons, or was that serious and I missed something?
No. I misspoke. This is actually the Ministry of Magic, the French Ministry of Magic.
Oh, okay, that makes sense because I thought it looked like Makuza, but different. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the one where they have the magical creatures kind of up around that glass dome. You can kind of see it in the top of the screen there, right?
Yeah, we saw that in the last trailer, more clear, and we did determine that it was something in to deal with the Ministry of Magic in France. Maybe their Fantastic Beast Division or Magical Beast Division or something like that.
So then it looks like we have Newt asking, "Hey, yeah, you want me to help hunt him down?" And then we see this handless glove pointing to a figure on a rooftop.
A handless glove. Could that be Dumbledore under the invisibility cloak saying, "Hey, meet me up there"? Because the very next shot after that, Newt kind of apparates up there.
I was thinking it was the demi-guys. Can't he be invisible?
Ooh.
Yes. And
That's true.
I think this would be before Dumbledore gets the invisibility cloak, because doesn't he borrow that from James?
Oh,
Yes.
that's right.
He gets that from James, yeah.
Yep.
So maybe the demi-guys is pointing to the building saying Dumbledore wants to meet you up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that.
Nice job, Gretchen. Good call.
Thank you.
And there's Youngledore.
And it is 6:30, no, 7:30 in the afternoon, presumably.
It could be
According
morning.
to the clock. Could be the morning. Yeah,
Could be morning.
exactly.
That could be morning. Looks a little stormy and morning.
Smoggy.
Smoggy. Beautiful.
I like
Beautiful place.
how they're showing the industrialization.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, it's the industrial age
Mhm.
right now. So
I wonder if we're gonna go steampunk with this. You know, we'll see what that turns into. And there's Newt making eye contact from the ground, and hops up on top.
yeah,
I love the architecture that they've scouted out for this. It's very, very interesting, and it's beautiful. You know, and that's part of, you know, the Parisian charm. I think it's well selected. Here you go. This is one of the biggest images in the trailer, right?
I freaked out, guys. I absolutely freaked. So we have a shot of the Mirror of Erised now, and Dumbledore standing in front of it. And we are finally able to see what Dumbledore sees. And everything that we ever thought about this was wrong. He doesn't see his family. He doesn't see Ariana unless she got a haircut and blonde hair.
Turned into Grindelwald.
Mustache. Yeah.
And one blue eye and
one blue eye. He sees Grindelwald, and this is a big, big revelation because how is this not explicitly gay?
That's exactly what I said. And I have seen the justification, like, oh, maybe he wishes that they could be friends again, or he wants Grindelwald to be good because he's wrecking the world. And I'm like, yeah, but your friends are not the people that are your deepest, darkest desire. That's not how that works.
Right.
But okay.
Yeah, so I definitely agree that this is pretty clearly, yeah, they're a thing. You know, they at least Dumbledore loves Grindelwald, and again, the word explicitly gay, it's a tough word to hang your hat on, because that basically means they have to say it out loud and make it as plain as possible. It's just, yeah, I agree that the interview that all comes from, that's just not the best way to phrase it.
Why did they even say anything? Like, I think he just made a huge mistake by saying anything at all about it. Like, especially if you're going to have a moment like this. Yeah, like, and then everyone has to defend it, and Jude Law has to defend it, and J.K. Rowling has to defend it, and like, oh, that just seemed like such a mistake. I would have been so mad at him if I was J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, bad PR for sure.
Yeah, like, dude, don't say that.
So the other caveat to this, I don't know if this would hold true for when Dumbledore looks into the mirror later on, when Harry knows him. You know, this is clearly still pretty young Dumbledore. The wounds are still fresh, you know, from whenever Grindelwald left, Godric's Hollow, and I feel like over time it maybe was, you know, after the fight with Grindelwald, I feel like over time he maybe had closure on that, and so I feel like whenever Harry talks to Dumbledore, it's not necessarily that he would still see Grindelwald in the mirror at that point.
See, I don't know. Do the deepest desires of your heart. Well, okay, yeah, they do change with age, right? Because as kids, you know, Ron saw himself as Quidditch captain,
and then once he achieved any of those, I mean, that's going to change, you know, because he doesn't want it anymore, or already has it. It doesn't matter.
But with Harry, I feel like you would always see his parents in the mirror.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know if Dumbledore. I don't know if it would ever change for Dumbledore. I honestly don't. I mean, sure as hell wouldn't be holding a pair of socks.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone trusted him on that one.
Yeah.
Even Harry was like, "That's a pretty personal question. I should have used a little bit more tact."
Yeah.
Okay, but my other question with this, where is he? Where is the mirror? Because he didn't bring it to Hogwarts in Harry's time until the Sorcerer's Stone, right?
We don't
know. Do we know where it was before then?
We don't know that it wasn't at Hogwarts before, right?
I thought he said something about it.
this looks like the same suit that he was wearing in that first shot in the first trailer that we saw whenever the Ministry came to question him. So maybe this is at Hogwarts. Like,
Yeah, I'll have to look at what I'm trying to think of, because I thought that he brought it. I thought that he had like recently brought it,
we
and we didn't know where it was before.
Yeah.
Oh, he moved it, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
he moved it.
I know we moved it.
And had recently kind of repurposed it just to hold the stone, so he had to do some work on it there. But I always had the notion that it was at Hogwarts prior to Harry being there and the stone being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, there's
Gotcha.
nothing confirming one way or the other, I don't think. Except for this movie now, apparently.
New meeting with Dumbledore on this on the next couple of shots that we have. And Dumbledore tells him, again, I can't move against Grindelwald. It has to be you. And this is such interesting placement of this particular scene right after we see him looking at Grindelwald in the mirror of Erised. So the audience is automatically going to deduce that, hey, he can't move against him because he loves him.
Right. Yep,
And
I agree.
I think we made the argument that he wasn't ready to face him because he didn't. Something about the magic, something about the power and the magic that he wasn't able to face him yet. Maybe with the wand, he didn't. What was that, Luke? That we were saying a couple of episodes ago.
So we talked about that in the Hogshead Radio episode, and basically, Dumbledore ends up. I think that he ends up confirming to himself through wand lore, basically, that Albus is the one that killed Ariana, and due to that, Albus has true possession, ownership of the Elder Wand, and that's basically combined with Albus being in love with Grindelwald and going to face Grindelwald and having it find out that, yeah, I can beat him even if he has the Elder Wand because it owes its allegiance to me, that's like true, pure confirmation that he indeed killed his own sister. But I don't know if that's the reason that Newt has to be the one that goes. I don't know.
So Dumbledore immediately says to Newt, if I were you, I wouldn't even take this job or whatever he says. What does he say? It's like
he says, in your shoes, I'd probably refuse to.
Yeah, and then he takes the information that he gave Newt and then just kind of grabs it, turns away, and disapparates. And Newt's like, "What the fuck? I mean, what the hell?"
Oh, come on.
Yeah, oh, come on, Yeah.
I imagine it's very easy to get frustrated with Dumbledore.
But, I hate being guilt tripped into something, and that's exactly what Dumbledore was doing to Newt,
Mm-hmm.
Poor Newt.
His facial expression right there is great on the "oh come on," like he's just like, I cannot believe this, but I can because it's Dumbledore. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
oh, this guy, Jesus.
I should have seen this coming.
This November.
Another beautiful set of animation on this November, and then the very next shot, we see. I'm blanking on her name, guys.
Lita Lestrange.
There you go. Thank you.
Zoe Kravitz.
I was gonna say we see Zoe, and we saw this again. This is nothing new. We saw it in the first trailer at some kind of a formal, or a dance, or a ball, or
a gala.
Yeah, a gala. Cut to one of my favorite scenes in this trailer is Newt's suitcase right in the middle of a busy street, and Newt is always the Niffler pops out of the suitcase, right? Because Nifflers are like cockroaches and they can get anywhere and for anything, and he pops out of the suitcase and it looks like Newt intentionally set him off to cause ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a distraction.
Yeah, I would think so. Makes sense. And
I love the Dumbledore's.
This the screenshot here, you can't quite see it, but I want to know what that sign in the background is. It's blurry in the image, but I'll have to watch again.
Dumbledore saying you underestimate your talents, Mr. Scamander. As it cuts to a scene of the Kelpie. Again, we saw that in last trailer. And this particular scene here is, I'm assuming, the Slytherin common room. From what we've seen in Chamber of Secrets when Harry goes in, and assuming that they're keeping kind of the same set for that. Because we saw the Black Lake right outside of those windows, it looks like. But who is that? That looks like Queenie, right?
I think that's Queenie.
Yeah, I didn't get a Slytherin common room feel from this. I don't know.
What kind of feel did you get?
It seems more industrial, like somewhere underground, like with the way the columns are. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I agree that it looks more like Queenie to me, and that would be hard to figure out why she would be deep within Hogwarts dungeons. But
that's true. Yeah. You know, now that you mentioned something, I do see it as more industrial. I mean, we have a broom in the corner. We have rope around the bars of the whatever the hell that is. I can't make it out. But pallet laying against the column. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Looks like there's almost like a desk down to the left with a lamp on it as well.
Yeah.
Like this is someone's sewer office. I don't know.
It's nice. Our secret lair.
Maybe Splinter's in there. You never know.
That's seriously Newt Bogart. The underground office. Oh no.
You know, every time I see it now, I'm gonna be like, "Oh my God, it's Newt
Bogart.
Bogart."
It's terrifying.
Go to work.
Yeah.
And
seriously,
there's definitely a creature in the water, right? Is that supposed to be the Kelpie with Credence coming out?
Yeah. The fate of one seems to be the tagline of this particular trailer.
And I'm assuming they mean Grindelwald with that.
Or
wouldn't we think?
I mean, the fate of one makes me think of like finality, you know, like, hey, you're running to an end. I don't think Grindelwald's meaning his end here. I would think if anybody, it's going to be Credence, unfortunately. That's just what I read it as.
Yeah.
We get the next couple of shots here. We get a really nice view, really close-up view of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. And you can actually see the difference in his eyes in this one blue and one brown. And he looks put together, really put together in this. You know, he doesn't look like he spent the last 6 or 8 months inside of a jail cell. So he got out, you know, got himself a haircut, got faded a little bit, got a trim, got some new clothes, it looks like.
He went and saw a good barber.
Grindelwald's got style.
Everyone in the 20s had style.
Yeah. It was a different age.
Their arrogance is a key to our victory, he says.
I don't know what this this thing could be. There's a bunch of little doorways.
It looks like it could be like a graveyard of sorts.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Above ground mausoleum style.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And this to me looks like a massing of followers for Grindelwald, maybe, because he's talking about like his, you know, one of his big taglines, I think, is, you know, trying to convince his persuasive lines, I should say, that, you know, we're going to take them out because of their arrogance, which is pretty convincing.
What is it with J.K. Rowling and the meeting of followers in a graveyard?
That's what I was just going to say.
I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that. Like, what kind of symbolism does the graveyard represent?
Or maybe she just thinks that that's where they're least likely to be found out because people aren't gonna go hang out in a graveyard just to have a conversation.
I mean, it's weak, but sure. I mean, that's like saying that, you know, we can go and host a podcast inside of a Walmart because nobody expects us to podcast there. I don't know. That was a far reach.
Yeah, I mean,
I think yours was weaker.
Maybe we should go to
My
Walmart.
coffee's running out, you guys.
There's a lot of people walking through. We can get some bystander listener audience.
Get some man on the street interviews.
Some of the ambience.
Could have done Target yesterday, right, with their Harry Potter Back to Hogwarts Day.
With their week Back to Hogwarts Day.
Not well televised. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, we'll discuss that on our next episode. All the issues with that. Next is, again, nothing new that we've seen is we saw it in the last trailer. Credence is releasing the Obscurus.
Learning to control it.
Yes.
And it looks like he's able to project it out, right? Because before it engulfed him and he was a part of it, right? So now he's creating separation from it.
And that's really scary that he's able to do this. You know, that he's learning how to control it even more because, guys, at this point in the movie, and I'm sure this will change, but I'm more scared of Credence than I am of Grindelwald.
He's definitely the more in-your-face terror, you know, because as far as we know, Grindelwald's just amassing followers, which is scary in its own way, but this is the more pressing matter, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I always thought he was learning to control it, to not, like, die.
Not to
so he could
weaponize
control it. Right.
Okay. So I think he probably feels that way, but what are the Maledictus's intentions? The same with Graves. You know, he was trying to help Credence learn how to control it so that he could use him, right?
Right. I think that the people Credence surrounds himself with want to use him as a weapon, whereas Credence just wants to learn how to control it to survive.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the idea that I was running with when I said maybe the romantic relationship between these two is only one direction. Like maybe he kind of falls for her, and she plays into that so that she can kind of control that weapon a bit. But I don't know if she, in truth, cares about him, if that's even a thing. Future of all.
The future of all. Another animation card here before it cuts to the next scene, which is, I think, one that we've already seen with Grindelwald in the Grand Coliseum that he's in, or whatever it is, the stadium seating place.
There's a lot of domes in this movie, I've noticed.
Well, you know, the architecture of Europe, I mean, it stems from the Romans, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A lot of the inspiration for the architecture there. So we see all of that even in the United States today. I mean, our Capitol building, our rotunda, is reminiscent of that type of architecture.
So maybe they're selecting these just to show its, you know, prominent spaces that these followers are amassing in, you know, kind of gives them some authority behind who they are a bit, maybe.
Yeah, definitely some volume as well. So Dumbledore is deep in thought about something, and we can assume that it's Grindelwald from the way that they fade in.
Yeah, I love the way that shot is.
Muggles are not lesser. So this is kind of, I guess, Dumbledore hearkening back to his major, you know, his and Grindelwald's major falling out, you know, a difference of ideals, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And this is shot at least for the trailer, if this is the way it happens. I like the fact that they're kind of looking at each other in thought and memory kind of deal.
I'd be surprised though if that's how it looks in the movie, because I don't recall seeing any shots similar to that before, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the way they faded it for the trailer.
Mm-hmm. And then we see our favorite Muggle.
Jacob Kowalski, which we saw in the first trailer, but it, with the Ani Ani in the background, and it looks great. I love the Ani Ani. He's like, yeah. So the shot right after kind of scared me a little bit, to be honest with you. Until we saw the very next shot right after that, but I saw a woman in pink, and every time I think pink now, I associate it with Umbridge, which I mean I know that she's not around right now.
She's ruined the color pink for you.
She has ruined the color pink for me. Yeah.
She's not quite squat enough in this picture.
No.
It's true. Yeah. This is another interior shot of the French magical department of or Department of Magical Creatures, something like that. But we see Newt, Tina, and the woman in pink.
And Lita.
Lita.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get that name.
Yes, Lita.
And they're jumping around between climbing on and jumping around whatever these tall cabinets, towers. I don't really know what these are at all.
Drawers, file cabinets.
Those are some interesting file cabinets if they can
They
move
are.
up and down and around.
Reminds me of some Star Wars scenes where they climb around and go pull the the power charge. Like, oh, it blew a fuse. We see a magical explosion.
Some blue fire.
In front of Kowalski.
Can you imagine being Jacob and he's like, seeing all this for the first time? I honestly wouldn't know what to think. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's just where that image right there is, but right in the middle of that explosion, does anyone else see like a dog head, like a jackal head?
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the Fiend Fire.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It looks like I was gonna say cat head, but
I wonder if it's one of those blue-eyed cats that we saw earlier.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Interesting.
So that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's gonna haunt my nightmares until November.
Now I won't sleep. Thanks.
Well, now, yeah. Sure as hell wouldn't because of this coffee I'm drinking right now.
So we see Kowalski kind of facing that, I'm going to say fire feline, whatever those are called. And
the fire cat.
Fire
cat.
Fire cat.
And
we're
gonna come up with a name for those.
A fire line. And was that Tina that comes in and basically tries to protect him?
Comes to his rescue, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so this comes right after the Muggles are not lesser, and they're also not disposable. So this is kind of feeding right into that same terminology going there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're worth fighting for, wizards.
And something we've never seen before is Queenie looking really, really upset, really just kind of like in pieces.
To me, this almost is like maybe she's reading someone's mind right now, and whatever it is that she's seeing is troubling.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know what I also thought? Whenever, at the end of last movie, whenever she says goodbye to Kowalski, and it's raining and everything, maybe this is like that immediate after shot of that, and she's kind of rethinking about it, or maybe it's something that we're going to see. I don't know. And another shot of the Fiend Fire. We can say it's Phoenix, right?
There's absolutely a head in this one too, right?
Yeah. I'm almost positive it's those cats.
Yeah. Especially because that color is identical to their eyes.
Mm-hmm. So really from here on in the trailer, I mean, it's just a quick sequence of shots, and they're quick action shots, right? We see everything from beasts. We see what kind of beast is this?
This looks like the Never-Ending Story.
Oh my gosh,
Falco.
it does.
I guess Newt is Atreyu. Is that right?
Yeah. But Newt's suitcase is open, so either we can assume that he let it out, or he's trying to bring it in.
Contain it.
Yeah.
It's his Pokeball.
You gotta catch them all.
He just does it with love and coercion.
And a wand.
Right. But yeah, to me, it looks like he's trying to, convince him to come with him, or kind of get him into the case. So.
Yeah. That's scary.
Rawr.
He's gonna need major dental work.
Yeah. Snaggletooth Rex. Couple black screens. You're too good, Newt. So this is Lita talking to Newt.
And it's very important what she says to him, because she says, "You've never met a monster you couldn't love."
I feel like there's probably a couple meanings in that.
Yeah.
Right. This reminded me of what Jude Law just said in the interview about how Dumbledore's a bit of a monster, but Newt still loves him.
Well, so we're pretty comfortable, or maybe I'm off on this, but she's potentially not a good person, right? I mean,
Yes, we don't know yet.
And we know that there was a falling out between those two of some sort that Newt didn't want to talk about. I wonder if she's calling herself a monster here as well.
Oh, for sure. That's what it seems
right.
like to me.
Definitely think that's
Perfect. Good. I'm not so far off base with that then. Good.
No. It just also reminds me of the Dumbledore thing, so I feel like it's applicable to a lot of characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the way Newt operates.
Right.
No
and
matter
all
the
of the
bad in people, he can see the good.
And all of the beasts as well. I mean, it's very Hagrid-esque.
Yeah.
So a couple things. Is she trying to appeal to him here, saying, "Hey, you've never met a monster you couldn't love, and I'm a monster," and also, is there any kind of romantic feelings right now with this? I mean, I know that's a far stretch, but that's it. To me, it's kind of what I'm thinking. She's calling herself a monster, and then she's kind of trying to appeal to him by saying, "You'd never met a monster you couldn't love, so
So will you love me?
love me?" Or yeah, exactly.
Or
I don't know. I mean, as far as we know, she's still engaged to his brother, so that'd be pretty awkward.
Yeah, Theseus, right? And to me, I wonder if it's more of like a warning, like, hey, be careful, because I know you tend to fall for the wrong things. In her mind, be careful, because she does care about him, at least as a friend and, potentially a brother-in-law. And I think it's her looking out for him to just be careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This next series of shots is pretty cool. We have an official here, a guy in a suit, bowler hat, because those are popular, and Credence kind of destroying this building that he's in, or the side of this building, which is really neat. And it's again, it's one of the reasons why I'm so scared of Credence. It doesn't look like he has a wand or anything. He's doing kind of this wandless magic.
So I wonder if they're tracking him down. Like this official, whoever he is, has found Credence, and I don't know if Credence is maybe slightly loses control right here, or if he's more showing off what he can do, kind of thing, to threaten, to like self-preservation. Yeah, I'm interested to see what the context is for this scene and who this guy is.
Then we have the scene of the flying carriage with the Thestrals, and we see more of an extended view this time. This is Grindelwald's escape, and we know that because Lego actually spoiled it for us. But
Thanks, Lego.
But thank you, Lego. This is a very cool shot. This is a series of shots because we finally see the magic that Grindelwald is performing, and he has a wand. And I mean, I'm not gonna nitpick here or zoom in, but it might be the Elder Wand. I don't know. That's no, never mind. But we really see him take control of this carriage and use this magic at the same time he's driving this carriage. Very dramatic scene.
It is definitely the Elder Wand. Look at that picture.
Yes, that was confirmed.
This shot right here that you're showing, Luke, of Grindelwald's hand extended with the Elder Wand is the same exact shot that he used in a promo for Deathly Hallows Part 2 with Voldemort's hand and the Elder Wand.
Oh, the same positioning and everything?
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice little throwback there.
So then we have the confrontation of Newt and Grindelwald. He says, Mr. Scamander, do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
And that is very important for Grindelwald to say, because would Dumbledore really mourn for him? Would he just kind of move on to the next person? Does Dumbledore really care for Newt?
Of course he does. He
absolutely.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I think Dumbledore cares for people, but he also kind of sees them as expendable to an
Yeah.
extent.
Oh,
They're there to help further his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he did say Mr. Scamander, meaning it could be Newt or Theseus. So what
Sure.
if, like, Theseus was working for Grindelwald, but then betrayed him for Dumbledore, and then Grindelwald's like, do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you? He doesn't even like you. He doesn't even like Scamanders. I don't know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Kind of a last-ditch effort to appeal to him, it looks like.
Good casting, though. They definitely look like brothers, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Are they brothers? Is that Jimmy Redmayne?
James Redmayne.
That's a cool image as well.
Of Gellert, yeah, right there in the middle of. It looks like the same place that he had his meeting with all of his followers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stadium-like seating.
And do we know who that woman is in the back?
We do not. At least not yet.
We do, I think. It's of course I can't remember her name. It's Rosier.
Rosier?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is she holding a golden egg?
Looks like it. She's got a Tri-Wizard tournament to go to.
Put it in the water.
Right.
So doesn't she know she needs to be underwater?
I think she's still trying to figure it out. That's why she's there, to get
It's still screaming at her.
the scoop from Luke. I mean, from a Newt. From Luke. God. Luke.
It's like, I wasn't there. Don't blame me.
It's the same thing. Sorry.
So I'm glad I was actually able to get this. Whenever it goes to the final fade out, everything, and there's smoke everywhere, and it just like so briefly has the Hallows in this magical mist, and it was a little tricky, but I'm glad I got it because it is very, very brief.
Yeah. And I think we were discussing this in our Slack chat with our patrons the other day, that we see a lot of the Deathly Hallows symbols in this series. And it's because this was the symbol that was associated with Grindelwald. Not many people thought it was like the Deathly Hallows. Thought of it as the Deathly Hallows. They just thought of it as Grindelwald's sign.
Right. Became synonymous with him almost.
Right, exactly.
I wonder if it's telling it all that the Hallows kind of break apart here. I don't know I think it's maybe just an illustrative way of showing.
A stylistic choice.
Yeah, but I just think it's interesting that maybe there's something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just complete. I'm just throwing words out there at this point.
Of course, the title card, Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, is up. But right after this, it's kind of like that extra little scene that they had at the end of the Avengers. And this is probably one of my favorite scenes of the trailer, is where Kowalski, he's a little scared, and he turns around, he sees this figure in a white robe, and he goes, are you a ghost? and the figure goes, no, I'm alive, but I'm an alchemist and therefore immortal.
I love Newt's reaction to this. He's like, where is this going? This is going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, dude's like, oh my god, this muggle, this nomad. We get a closer shot of the figure, and he extends his hand and he goes, Nikolai Flamel. And this is Nicholas Flamel. We've waited 10 movies to see this guy.
Right.
But it's cool. Definitely different than what I thought he would actually look like. You know, very white, very pale, very everything about him is white.
So
white hair.
Whenever I first saw this, I was super excited that it was Nicholas Flamel and all this. And then, like, on the rewatch through, I was like, this really reminds me of Bill Murray showing up in Zombieland. Anyone? Just just the way the makeup is done and like the way he moves, it just, for some reason, that's the idea that I got in my head. Now I can't unsee it.
He moves like he's very fragile, and unfortunately for Jacob, he is. So whenever he goes to shake his hand, he breaks his thumb or breaks a bone.
I can't tell if he's like joking or if that actually happens.
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 375.
Yeah. That was a little fun zinger at the very end there. And oh god, Dan is just so amazing. So amazing. I'm looking forward to watching this movie just for him. But then it closes 11/16/2018. And that is it. That's the trailer, you guys. And I think we've gone through that pretty thoroughly. Of course, in the future episodes of Hogwarts Radio over the next month or so, we've got a busy month planned. We already have our next episode lined up and planned out. And then right immediately after that, we have our 10-year anniversary episode. So there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things happening within Hogwarts Radio, within the Wizarding world. It looks like, and I'm sure we're gonna start getting more images. We're gonna start getting more trailers, more teaser spots, and we'll be sure to talk about that on future episodes. So, overall thoughts of the trailer?
Love it. Lots of really exciting information, really cool stuff that we have never seen before. I think it's going to be a real good movie.
Yeah, I am happy that it was as long as it was. Just, I feel like we got so much information in this trailer, and I think there's a lot to think about before November comes.
Definitely a lot to dissect.
I agree. I feel like this was a really good trailer, and I think they needed it to be a really good trailer because of some of the unfortunate PR things that have gone on around this film specifically. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the movie. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Okay, guys. Well, that does it for our episode 205, our Crimes of Grindelwald trailer discussion. If you have a comment about anything we've mentioned on the show, please send it to staff@hogwartsradio.com or find us all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff. And to our patrons listening right now, thank you so much. Don't forget to, if you want to become a patron, help support the show, get a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes, go to patreon.com/hogwartsradio and sign up today. We have first years all the way through fifth years available on different tiers and different benefits that you can receive on each tier. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you're watching on our live stream and have stuck with us, thank you so much. And that does it. I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Luke Hogan.
And I'm Gretchen Rush.
And that does it. We'll see everybody for episode 206. Bye-bye.